Hey guys, what's going on, dudes? It is David here. We are back with another video. In this video, guys, we're going to be reviewing the Southern 500, otherwise known as NASCAR Throwback Weekend, that just finished I'd probably say about 30 minutes ago. And might I add, until probably the last stage and like the last 50 laps of the season, this probably wasn't really that exciting of a race. I mean, you had a lot of playoff contenders have trouble during the race. You had a playoff contender getting in trouble, like losing points before they even started a race. And you had another incident between a Hendrick Motorsports driver and a Joe Gibbs driver that is kind of interesting when you really think about it. But otherwise, yeah, this race was, I wouldn't probably say, yeah, last 50 laps is pretty exciting, especially what happened between the two leaders heading with about 10 laps or probably around 15 laps to go. But stage one, stage two, it seemed like it was going to be a classic, a domination race by a certain driver. But thankfully, it did end up turning out the way. And I just want to say, this reminded me, technically the finish of this race reminded me of the way the Xfinity Series race finished yesterday. Because if you guys remember in the Xfinity Series race, the Xfinity Series race finished with Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin battling for the win. They both got into each other, and third place Brandon Jones came through and won this race. Technically, if you really look at the finish of this race and how it happened, it's the same thing, but we'll get onto that later in the video. But yeah, let's talk about stage winners. I mean, stage number one, it was really, at first, it was dominated by Chase Elliott, but then Martin Truex Jr. was able to get by after some pit stops. Chase Elliott ended up getting in the wall. He ended up fixing damage, but he did not really have. But after he got passed by Truex, it was really just Truex's race, and I honestly thought, I should start off the race because I thought Truex was just going to go on and win this race because it seemed like Truex had the best car up until the third and final stage. Truex won stage number 2, so Truex did sweep the first 2 stages, but he did not end up getting the win of this race, as we'll find out later when we talk about the race. But speaking about the race, let's get into the top 20 finishers of today's race. Kevin Harvick has won this race. Kevin Harvick was running P3. P3 when the two leaders, the two best cars of the weekend, got into each other and was able to keep it ahead. And I just want to say, look at that second place, Austin Dillon. I had Austin Dillon in my predictions getting eliminated in the first round, and he nearly won this race. He drove it in that final corner on the final lap. He drove in so hard, and kept it off the wall. If there had been probably, give him another lap, he would have at least gone to Kevin Harvick's back bumper and probably tried to do something, especially considering there was lap traffic ahead of them. But congratulations to Austin Dillon, man. This man, I went to this Darlington weekend thinking, you know what, Austin Dillon, his paint scheme was really nice, but I didn't really think he had a chance of winning or even getting a shot at winning this race. But hey, let's say the two leaders that I'm going to be talking about eventually later didn't get into each other. Austin Dillon had a top 5 finish, and that would still been solid for him. And he's ahead of the cut line, so that's a very good thing for him heading to Richmond next week, which is a track I'd probably say Austin Dillon is actually pretty decent at. So it's a very good weekend for Austin Dillon. Third place, Joey Logano, Eric Jones finishing in 4th, William Byron finishing in P5. So 4 out of the top 5 cars were all in the playoffs. The only non-playoff car in the top 5 that was actually in the non-playoff car in the top 10 was Eric Jones, and Eric Jones having a solid day, proving like he can have solid finishes at tough tracks like Darlington. Because man, a lot of these cars were getting to the wall. A lot of these cars had scrapes on these walls. Even Kevin Harvick had a little bit of damage on the back of his car, and he won the race. The rest of the top 10 finishers goes as follows: Bowman, Busch, Almirola, Boyer. If you guys did not hear me right, yes, Bowman finishes 6th, Kyle Busch finishes 7th, Kurt Busch finishes 8th, Eric Almirola finishes 9th, continuing. This guy has a top 10 streak, continuing. He's so consistent every single weekend. He reminds me of the way Newman got into the playoffs, because Newman was just consistent throughout the playoffs, getting top 10s, getting top 5s, getting consistent finishes. Ended up turning out being good for him. And then Clint Boyer having a very, very decent points day. Now, when we talk about the points, it doesn't seem like it is a decent points race, but still, for Clint Boyer to get a top 10 at Darlington, that's a very solid finish compared to some other competitors in the top 16 and not getting good finishes. But I mean, most of the playoff contenders finished in the top 10, so I mean, there's not really anything to say about that. Brad Keselowski finishing 11, Cole Custer finishing in 12th, Denny Hamlin finishing 13th. Denny Hamlin probably should have had a better finish when it came to this race, but unfortunately, on a green flag pit stop, he was trying to come down, he was trying to let everybody behind, and he kind of slowed down right in front of Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson got into the back of Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin got loose, didn't have enough speed to come down pit road, even though he tried to still slow it down, but that ended up costing him time, and he ended up not getting back from that, and was not able to have the car to drive through the field, because I'll be honest, watching this race, it was really, really tough to pass for them unless he had better tires. And yeah, when you had better tires, it was easy to pass. But other than that, it was not really that easy to pass for most guys. Matt Kenseth finishing in 13th. Matt Kenseth finishing in 14th. Ryan Newman finishing in 15th. Let's talk about that guy real quick. Matt Kenseth finishing in 14th. This guy had a solid, quiet day. Because if you look at where Matt Kenseth was most of this race, he was around top 20, top 25. He ends up finishing 14, getting a top 15 finish. If I look at that, I'd be like, that's a very, very solid finish for Matt Kenseth, because nobody would probably expected him to. Well, I mean, he knows how to race Darlington, so I mean, I guess you did really expect him to have a very good race, but congratulations to Matt Kenseth. I know he hasn't been running as well as I probably expected him to, because I expected Matt Kenseth to run a lot better than he has been. I mean, he's gotten a top 10 finish here and there, but yeah, 14th place finish is very good. Ryan Newman finishing in 15th. Michael McDowell finishing in 16th. His teammate unfortunately had a crash during the race. I'm talking about John Nemechek, the rookie, even though the rookie of the year is already locked up because Cole Custer made it into the playoffs. Ryan Preece finishing in 17th. Jimmy Johnson finishing in 18th. Jimmy Johnson's last Darlington race, last throwback weekend of his career, and he finishes 18th place. Not a very good day, even though he had a top 15, top 20 car. He was never going to finish inside in that top 10. All three Hendrick Motorsports teammates of his seemed to have a better day. I mean, most of them started in the top 10, and they were running around top 10 most of the race, and they ended up finishing in top 10. So Jimmy Johnson was probably the worst car out of the Hendrick Motorsports teams that had a disappointing day. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishing in 19th. Average day for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I mean, both JTG, Daugherty racing teams getting a top 20 finish. That's very good for them. And then we have Chase Elliott finishing in 20th place. Chase Elliott, he is probably really, really upset after this race with Martin Truex Jr. And if you guys don't really know, I'm gonna get into this now because I've wasted long enough putting this off, not talking about this, but Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. were basically battling for the lead. Chase Elliott was in the lead. Martin Truex Jr. was catching him, going to turn number 3 and 4. Chase Elliott went down to the bottom, let Truex get on the top. Truex got a very big run on him. Truex eventually got down to the inside, dove it into the corner, misjudged it, got into Chase Elliott. They both ended up getting to the wall. Truex ended up pitting to change his tires. Chase Elliott stayed out there because I think it was about 10 laps to go, and he wanted to stay on the lead lap. He ended up getting a top 20 finish. But of course, Chase Elliott is not very upset. Is not very happy right now. I don't expect him to be, because this win could have advanced him into the next round. And it's another incident with the Joe Gibbs racing driver, because you guys remember the previous Darlington race, Chase Elliott got into an incident with Kyle Busch that ended up costing him probably a win. Chase Elliott led 114 laps tonight, so yeah, not a very good day for Chase Elliott, and I feel sorry for him, because he should have had a top 5 finish, if not a win. So he's gonna have to bounce back next weekend when it comes to the Richmond race. But the other guys that were in the playoffs that finished outside the top 20, Matt DiBenedetto finishing 21st. I mean, he got lapped on the last lap. Martin Truex Jr. finishing in 22nd. Ryan Blaney finishing in 23rd. And another driver that didn't have a very good day due to a technical issue, had to retire the car. That is not in the playoffs, but it's Bubba Wallace finishing in 38th. Yeah. Unfortunate day for Bubba Wallace though in the Throwback paint scheme to his boss, Richard Petty, running in the Cash App paint scheme. But, yeah, I mean, the most laps led was Martin Truex Jr., so let's get enough about the finishers. So let's talk about the race. Stage number 1. I mean, stage number 1, it was really just domination by 2 drivers in terms of stage. I mean, of course, they had green flag pit stops. You had the competition caution, of course, but yeah, stage number 1 just seemed to be dominated by 2 drivers. The 2 drivers that probably were the most dominant drivers of the weekend. That was Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr., and unfortunately for them, it ended up not being good for them by the end of the stage. Going to stage number 2, Martin Truex Jr. got off to an early start, got the lead. And, Martin Truex Jr. basically just led, a lot of laps in stage number 2. And stage number 3 is where a lot of things got exciting. Of course, Martin Truex Jr. led 196 laps. So, yeah, unfortunately for him, yeah, he just dove it straight in. He just dove it in a bit too deep. Thought he was clear, was not able to get clear of Chase Elliott, and he ended up getting 22nd place. But, yeah, stage number 3. Stage number 3 was riddled with pit strategy because some guys came around at lap 80. Then Martin Truex Jr., Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, all of them stayed out until I think it was about lap 69 or 68 laps to go. And it was basically going to come down to fuel strategy, but then there was a caution with around 40 to go, and that just set up everybody on the same amount of tires. And of course, then you had, I think it was about 20 to 15 to go, you had Truex starting to catch down Chase Elliott after Chase Elliott got in the lead off the pit stops. And of course, then you had the incident towards the end of the race where Truex and Chase Elliott got into each other, and they both ended up not having a very good day for the finish. Now, in terms of the point standings for the NASCAR after this race going to Richmond, the 4 drivers that are below the cut line right now are Clint Bowyer, Cole Custer, Matt DiBenedetto, and Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney had a minus 10 points because of pre-race inspection, and his crew chief got ejected, so disappointing day for him, and finishing 24th is not a very good day for Ryan Blaney. Clint Bowyer, like I said before, a solid top 10 for him, but I think he's actually tied on the cut line right now with his teammate who actually finished in front of him, Eric Almirola. But yeah, Clint Bowyer, I think Richmond's a kind of a decent track for Clint Bowyer, but not really sure about that. Matt DiBenedetto, I don't really see Matt DiBenedetto running very good when it came to this track, but maybe a short track like Bristol's more suited his style. Sorry, not Bristol, Richmond, and then they actually go to Bristol, where Matt DiBenedetto is probably going to have its best chance of making it or probably even winning, so we'll have to see when it comes to that. But in terms of this race, stage number 1 was okay, stage number 2 was okay. I mean, stage number 2 was basically mostly dominated by Martin Truex Jr., but stage number 3 was definitely the highlight of this race, and I can't wait to see what happens in next week when it comes to short track, because you know what short track brings. Short track tempers. And you know you're going to see a lot of drivers getting very, very aggressive. But in terms of this race, yeah, it was a decent race. I'd probably say it was an okay race up until stage number 3, and we'll have to see what happens next week at Richmond. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Please do smash the like button. I'll be posting more sports content for you guys to see in the coming days. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on bell notifications so you know my videos go live. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys all later.